it's like when you say to God, I need this. My child is sick. And you get, I've always said this, when I get mad at God, okay? I mean, he listens. He writes that from the standpoint, now it's not disrespectful, but it's like her anger was based on the love she had for her daughter, and she wanted her daughter better. Everything else was consequential.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus was impressed by that. And all the miracles have the same. If all the people, I'm gonna throw this out there. Tell me what you think. If all the people, this is a human question. If all the people that Jesus healed, one way or another, had been like this woman, he never would have been crucified.
Exactly.
Because it was the embodiment of a relationship. Hey, he saved my daughter. For God, don't you put a hand on him.
Yeah, she would have blocked it.
I'm just saying that the reason why the indifference grew is because the people had no investment, no relationship. It was like carnival time.
Yeah, because I know I argue with God a lot too. Because I'm like the Canaanite woman. I would have followed him no matter what. I wouldn't have allowed him to be crucified. I would have stood my ground. Had he have done something like this for me, for my child, I would have been there. I would have been taking the whipping. They would have had to have killed me in order to take Jesus and kill him. Because there's no way that would have happened.
No.
Of course, God answers with, well, that's why you weren't there.
Yes. Very good. I like that.
Yeah. I didn't put you there.
All right. Jesus went on from there and walked beside the Sea of Galilee. And he went up on the mountain and sat down there. And great crowds came to him, bringing with them the lame, the blind, the crippled, and the mute, and many others, and they put them at his feet, and he healed them. So that the crowd wondered when they saw the mute speaking, the crippled healed, and the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they glorified the God of Israel. Then
Crippled healthy.
Right. Then Jesus called the disciples to him and said, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I am unwilling to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. And his disciples said to him, where are we to get enough bread in such a desolate place to feed so great a crowd? And Jesus said to them, how many loaves do you have? They said, 7, and a few small fish. And directing the crowd to sit down on the ground, he took the 7 loaves and the fish, and having given thanks, he broke them and gave them to his disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowd, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 7 baskets full of broken pieces left over. Those who ate were 4,000 men, oh my God, besides women and children. And after sending away the crowd, he got into the boat and went to the region of Magadan.
So see, he felt compassion for these people.
Right.
And he knew sending them away, they would faint and die along the way.
Right.
So he feeds them. Out of the kindness of his soul, he feeds them.
Right.
Even though he didn't have enough, he ended up having enough. And sometimes you think, you go through life and you're like, oh God, I don't have enough money to pay for this, this, and this, and this, and this. What am I going to do? And you pray, and next thing you find out, you pay your bills, you get that done, you'll see that you still have money left over for food, and you're like, wow, that penny did stretch further than I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
And all you can do is thank God for the fact that you're able to live another month paying your bills and putting food on the table. It might not be one of those big fancy dinners where you get just a small little portion of something and think, oh my gosh, what's that, for $1,000? You're able to cook a meal for your kids. And that's the blessing in him feeding the crowds.
True enough. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to test him. They asked him to show them a sign from heaven. He answered them, when it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be stormy. Today, for the sky is red and threatening. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the times. An evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of Jonah. So he left them and departed. When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And they began discussing it among themselves, saying, we brought no bread. But Jesus answered, aware of this, said, oh, you of little faith, why are you discussing among yourselves the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves and the 5,000, and how many baskets you gathered? Or the 7 loaves and the 4,000, and how many baskets you gathered? How is it that you fail to understand that I did not speak about bread? Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? And they said, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter replied, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered, blessed are you, Simon Barabbas, Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. Against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loosen on earth shall be loosened in heaven. Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ.
So now he changed Jonah to Paul.
Right. Now, I want to say something to the audience, to people that may be Catholic or Protestant. I love this. I'm a Protestant, okay? I'm a Lutheran, obviously. But